It's time to review the Ultimate Season Pass tank for Gods of Thunder season, and it is ADATS Era 3 Light Tank. It's a unique tank as it's the first tank to feature hypersonic ATGMs. What that means is the ATGMs are much faster than your regular ATGM. To put it in perspective, a Weasel has ATGM that goes 300 meter per second, and for this tank, it's 1000 plus and 1029 meter per second to be exact. So they are very, very fast. You don't get much time to react, and essentially it renders the enhanced missile warning system useless because you don't have much time to react as the missiles are that much faster. Before we get started with the review, let's look at the setup I'm using for this tank. This tank does have the secondary weapon, same as the Bradley, exact same as Bradley actually. It is not as good as the Martyr, but if you've played Bradley, it is identical to that. The tank is slow, so I'm using triple speed, and it doesn't have the best concealment either. To be honest, I think it has the worst concealment of a light tank in Era 3. So even though it has the fast missiles, it compensates that ability by having everything else worse. So for example, speed and camo. And also it is, you can hit its turret. And because how the quad ATGMs are, you do end up hitting the corners more compared to other tanks. So let's start with the equipment first, using advanced concealment to improve the camo. As I said, it has the worst camo, around 60 worse than Stromer, 40 worse than the Bradley. It is 360 plus base. That I'm using double speed, advanced powertrain, and traction system to boost that speed because the base speed is pretty bad. Consumables, repair kit, smoke screen, again for concealment, and then fuel for the speed as well. Going full speed, but even then, the tank is slower than the heavy tanks. So don't put yourself in a position where a heavy tank can rush you, because they will, because the terrain resistance tests are now gone. So you have to be careful. You can't just, rush people like you do in Stormer or other fast tanks or Weasels. The tank is slow. If you commit to somewhere, you will die because they will quickly turn around and jump, and you have 100 meters of minimum arming distance. Usually the tank that has 100 meters of minimum arming distance, they have a very lethal secondary gun like Martyr or MLI or Sturf, but this tank, because it has that lethal ATGMs, it doesn't get great secondary weapon either. So for skills, I'm using 1 liter rapid loading, camouflage expertise, 6 sense, pain tolerance, run and gun, supply conservation, clutch braking, and mark target. I'm thinking I should change mark target for something else, but I'll let it there for now because it is the same crew I'm using for Tormer. And now look at the armor for this tank. 38. You do have a little bit of layered armor, so you might get like some mouses here and there, but it isn't like Desert Warrior. The thing is, you can pen it behind the gun as well. The tank is pretty tall, and you can pen this. It isn't like MLI where your top is immune and they can't pen you. In this one, they can easily pen you. Not these rocket launchers, but in the middle as well, and of course this top. Even if you think you're hull down, you can get penned. So not the best tank to be hull down it either. I would say similar like Martyr. Martyr also struggle to be hull down, but tanks like Desert Warrior and Stromer, they can play hull down very effectively. But this tank cannot. So as I said, it has one specialization, and everything else is below the other tanks. So you have to be careful that you adjust your playstyle because it is difficult or different than the other tanks. Looking at the module where we have engine in the front, fuel tank in the back, and then you have ammo rack in the middle of the turret, and apparently inside the ATGM launchers. And we have three crew members in the hull, and then one in the drum. No, this doesn't look right. Is that a crew in the drum? Okay, I'm not an expert, but usually the crews are cheered, so maybe that's a bug. But usually do have one crew member in the turret, probably just a shape like a different one, unless he's lying over there. And now looking at the modules, the top speed of 70, reverse 31, and that's after the triple speed I'm using. Horsepower or power to weight 27. Solid hit points. Hit points are nice because it is a slow tank of 32. Hull rotation 57. Hull rotation is also slower. Takes turns like a boat, especially for a light tank. Terrain resistance of 0.43, 0.48, and 1.05. Concealment 249. Yeah, that's worse than the concealment of other tanks without any. No, actually, relatively worse, as I said, like 50. I was thinking it's without any equipment, but no, that was 367 base. So you get like a 120 meters of concealment improvement here. View range 625. Turret rotation is 69. Turret rotation is decent. Elevation 59, gun depression 9 degrees. We have a reload time of 25 for the autocannon, accuracy 0.2, during movement 1.2, aim time 1.63. Yeah, it's the same as Bradley, 1500 clip damage, 4684 DPM. One thing to note in this tank, you don't get advanced loader equipment as you do in Stormer and Desert Warrior. So I'm not sure how that works, because usually if it's an auto loader, you don't get it. But so is the Stormer and Desert Warrior, but they have an advanced loader. Penetration 220, armor damage 30, module 40, shell velocity 1385, spin up delay 0. Now moving on to the 146 tube launcher, and that's where the specialty is. Reload is 40, so you load for a long time because you do end up loading 8 shells or 8 ATGMs. Then you have 24 ammo capacity. Interclip is 18.18, so even if you had loaded, I wouldn't use it, because essentially this is a single shot tank that has a reload of 18.18. If you're lucky, you can get the chance to reload it twice, but you won't. Like third time, you won't even get a chance. It does have a long reload, but as I said, just think of it as a single shot tank that takes 18 seconds to reload rather than an auto loader, because usually they have 10 or 12 seconds of interclip, but not this tank. And again, a long reload as well. DPM of 3700, penetration 900, only one shell. Desert Warrior and Stormer, they have two 800 and 1000 penetration, but this one only one shell, which has better than the standard, and you'll make more money. No premium though. Armor damage is 1300, which is solid, 650 module damage, and that's the ammo max speed coming in 1029. Minimum arming distance of 100 meters, and looking at the server earn rate, it is 60, premium vehicle run rate 15%, and free XP earn rate of 14. But as I said, when I was initially looking at the tank, the stats, I was worried that this is going to be a broken tank, but the more I played it, it's not really broken. It can do decent if you play the way it's supposed to play. You can't really run and gun, as you can get destroyed very quickly. And also currently, because the powertrain testing, these are gone, plus there are a lot of these tanks in the matchmaking, you couldn't really test the true potential. But my initial outlook that this tank's going to be OP or broken, that it's not broken. I would say it's a balanced tank, especially when you consider the other light tanks that have missiles and autocannon. So it's on par with them, but it is unique. It kind of encourages passive gameplay, and I'm always a fan of that. So it is a different play style that it enforces, which can be good for the matchmaking as well. So you're always sniping or long range shooting, and then in addition, if there's a hull down, you just hit them quicker. So essentially, you can consider this tank as a TD or on an FV that hits for 1300 in era 1, and that's the shell velocity. And because the missiles are faster, it can be difficult to control as well. So it does come at a side effect of that fast ATGM. You don't have much time. You can't do javelins, which are difficult these days anyway. But as I said, now we'll see how it actually performs, and you'll see what this tank can do when you are in the battlefield. I am in Death Valley, the new community map that has been added to the game with this update, and I like this map just because it doesn't have the visual noise. I can see things more clearly. But enough about the map. We'll have a different video focusing on it. This we're focusing on ADATS, and as I said, the tank is slow even with triple speed, barely hitting 70, and I think Stromer, if I'm not mistaken, goes 84 with a reverse base. So as I said, be passive. Be passive. You have the shell velocity, use that. You're a sniper, you're not a light tank. Another thing to notice is this tank has a satellite up top. So what happens sometimes is if you're stationary, you can blend in with the trees, difficult to identify. But if you have this module that keeps rotating, it does get easier for opponents to see you and shoot you. So you have to be careful there. And what do we have? ADATS in the enemy team. Whew. Bad play there, bad play. All it takes is a second and bang. You take that 1300 missile shot, and worse, sometimes you can get ammo rag, and that's what happened to that 477 we just saw. He thought he can escape, but that guy, enemy that's probably know how to pen 477, and he just deleted. A little bit overconfident over there. Here's 1254. Look at that shell velocity. Look at that ATGM shell velocity. Is it even an ATGM at this point? But yeah, it is a hypersonic. We might see more weapons in the future. I mean, essentially the same mechanic. It's just the faster shell velocity, so we call them hypersonic. Desert Warrior put a shot and he backed up. Unfortunately, I missed one pen out of the first 3 ATGMs. Not a good start. So just rotating a little bit to the right to find an angle. I played games earlier as well, and I was making the mistake of, you know, being aggressive, a little bit aggressive, not even that much. And what was happening was they would just turn around and shoot me, and I'm like, man, I don't like this tank. Seems underpowered. But if you play it right, and that's what you saw, 1 second, bang, the guy didn't have had a chance to react or retreat, because this tank also has slow reverse speed, and with that ATGMs coming at the well, not at the speed of light, but you know, pretty fast. That light tank took a shot. There's a martyr. He didn't pen me, but that was lucky. You know, I don't have the best impression either. Luckily, he bounced probably off my side, and I ended up emeracking Leclerc, 5600 damage. That's a good start. That's a good start, especially considering I missed the first 3 ATGM. As I said earlier, I'm just, you know, I'm just maintaining my distance, not trying to be a hero. Another ADATS, no chance to react. If it was any other tank, Stormer, Desert Warrior, I would have missed that because he started retreating and I would have been able to get in cover, but not with ADATS. So I'm like a, I don't know if I call it hawk because I don't really attack them, but I guess sniper it is. I see an opportunity and bang, they're dead. We are losing by 5 tanks. Not good. Looking for the shot on the martyr, little bit back, but unfortunately I think I triggered the detection. We're losing by 6 tanks, but only 1% HP deficit, so no need to panic. At least the game can still be won. There is a potential. And what do we have here? Chieftain, bad shot, but I was lucky because that's how I penned him. Second, it was Stingray that only shot me with a 400 alpha, so I did get lucky there. Imagine it was another ADATS. I decided to run away a little sooner because it'll take forever, and I don't even know the best way to play this map or where everything is. I'm just hoping for the best. And as I said, oh man, 50, what is it? I'm slower than heavy tanks, let alone medium. They'll just chase me down and delete me, and look at that, those tanks. I don't even have the camo, so I will get spotted sooner. 5v11. I turn around and I thought the BB hasn't spotted me, so I can get a shot here. And that 490, he flipped. Can I get a shot into 490? Oh no, he got in cover, and as I was moving, I get spotted. And what do we have? I get penned by 490. That's the life of this tank. You do get punished because you get spotted sooner, and then you are slow. So still creating distance. The heavy tanks get spotted. Can I get a shot into him? BV, I thought I can hit his track wheel, but I couldn't pen it. Nonetheless, we're still losing by 4 tanks. I found this nice angle. One of the advantages I have in this map is no one knows how to play this map because it is new, unless you spend a lot of time in the community. And what do we have here? ADATS, bang. 8,000 damage, and our deficit is down to 3 tanks. 4 versus 7. We are down by 9% HP. Your EE rushing our medium, and I was thinking, should I shoot EE, should I shoot Balka? I'm like, Balka is more of a threat, so let's go for him, and bang, full health Balka down. And like that, we have just changed the dynamic of the game, and not in a bad position anymore, or as we were 10 seconds ago, because Balka is very annoying to deal with, and especially when they start pushing you. As I said, the tank isn't really fast, Balka start rushing you, it is annoying. Close to 12k damage, Tin Grip push is retreating. I should have just used the minigun here. Nonetheless, he's down 3 versus 3. Challenger, he's struggling. If he just backs up, I could help him, but unfortunately he moved forward, making it difficult for me to help him. And that's the thing, you know, I always say, use your teammates, and that's what he's doing now. He's backing up. Side, nice side shot of EE. He goes down. ADATS 1000. And then they have a Jaguar. Close to 13k damage, 6 kills. We do have a 2% HP advantage, and for the first time in the game, we are leading. I have another tank, Desert Warrior. He's also healthy. And as I said, the first few games I played in this tank, I was not doing well. And the reason for that is I would try to be aggressive. And because they have so many ADATs running around, it's not the best environment to test it in, and you do get punished a lot as well. So I was very scared, and the reason I started doing better was I just played it as a long-range sniper. A long-range destroyer rather than your traditional light tank, and that's when everything changed. Started doing much better, started getting that 8k games. But otherwise, when I played the first 5 or 6 or maybe even 10 battles, I was doing 4k damage, and sometimes even struggling to do that. So So my opinion initially, right, it went from, oh, it's gonna be broken, it's gonna be broken, that it's garbage, man, this is a terrible tank. But that's the way you play it, right? The way it's supposed to be played, and that's how you play it. This tank definitely provides a unique strategy, as well as it deteriorates opponents to push, especially light tanks. They're worried. If you see ADATS in that mid team, they're like, oh, I don't want to push, because we will get ATGM. And the thing with ATGM is you can also get MREC pretty. I mean, the chances are high, right? Because high module damage, it does have 650. Our Desert Warrior, he just went in, he spotted both those tanks, and unfortunate, I thought I would get 2 shots. I had 3 ATGMs left and I can hit 15k. Nonetheless, still a decent game so far. He's doing 1v1 first with Jaguar, then with the other tank. Going in to help, ADATS almost dead here, so is our Desert Warrior. Maybe I should have let them kill him, because then I would have put 14k. Now this Jaguar is running away. I'm chasing him, struggling to even keep up with Jaguar. Even Jaguar goes 70, I think, forward and reverse base. And that was the last tank, and that was it. 7 kills, 13.5k damage. A nice game in the new tank. Let me know in comments what you think about this tank. Do you like it? Do you like the shell velocity? Do you hate it? It's too slow. What do you think about it? Also, this 4,000 gold for the tank and the skin. And also, boys, if you're not in the regiment yet, you are missing the opportunity to earn Regi coins. So check out our community regiments. I'll catch you in the next one. We will have a Tiger Mouse review next. But that's it for now. Have a great rest of your day.